Okay, so we are live here. Hi Kushal, what's up?
Hi Vivek, how are you?
बस ठीक ठाक यार हम तो लॉकडाउन में बेरोजगार अंडरपेड भी नहीं बोल सकते नाउ इन डेट्स एंड so and just seeing people around me getting depressed with mental issues and getting into drugs, alcohol, some people committing suicide. This is the scenario honestly around me. What's the scenario around you?
No, it's very bad. So let's talk about both the lockdowns, right? So lockdown 1.0 had happened at that time. I don't think so. There was a lot of disparity because the first time even the business community was like, because we did not know what was happening, right? So there was the fear of the unknown, and we did not have enough data. So even the business community was like, okay, sahelenge. A lot of people, see, I know personally. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of businessmen, small businessmen, they broke their own fixed deposits during the first lockdown, and they were like, no, no, we will retain our staff somehow or the other. They tried their best, and then obviously we opened up, and then the economy was running, and then again the second wave came, and the second lockdown hit. I know the first lockdown, kind of. So if we talk about three layers, right? So in three layers, like, they are the big companies, then they are middle, and then there are genuine small and micro businesses. So I think the first lockdown wiped out the micro businesses. I think the second lockdown has now wiped out the small and some of the medium businesses, and like the medium businesses have become small now, which is very dangerous. So yeah, it's overall it's not looking good, and it might look good for the big industries because they have deep pockets and they can sustain it, and they have the, I don't know how to say it, they have the privilege of scale, and people don't realize what the privilege of scale is. Like, let's say you're from the film industry, so if something like this happens, right, maybe a small producer or a small production house cannot afford it, but maybe a big production house which has crores of rupees, or like a Netflix or Amazon, maybe they can sustain for like 3 years, 4 years. But those small production houses, they don't have that kind of liquid cash, they don't have the privilege of scale, so they are wiped out now. And so as far as I'm concerned, that is the kind of scenario, at least with in my friends and circles.
Yeah, and see, there are many implications to this one. See, the problem is it's easy to announce a lockdown, but it's very difficult to lift it politically. And this is, I must have read many articles from different countries, from Australia, from Germany, England, US, and most of the people have written the same thing, that it's very easy because then you build sentiments of the masses around it in such a way. The fear psychosis has gone so deep into your bloodstream that people are scared that if lockdown हट गया तो हम मर जाएंगे. And ये middle class, जो the salaried people, actually mostly, they get very scared. But the person who is anyways interacting with hundreds of people in a shop or in a small business or a freelancer or people like that, they have a problem because they are not on salary. And now they are also not very vocal because they are stressed somewhere else. The person who is vocal is somebody who's getting good salary in IT industry, is sitting at home on one TV as a Netflix, and he's just on a keyboard, he's saying no, lockdown should not go. I have been raising this issue, and even my supporters have been trolling, not trolling, I would say, have been critical of me, that why are you talking about this? Okay, cinema should shut down, small businesses, what is more important, health or life or business? This argument I wanted to discuss with you, because you are an entrepreneur yourself, you deal with people, workers, everything, and you understand all that. This argument, how what is the merit and demerit of this argument that life is more important than economy?
Yeah, see, I have never understood this argument at all, right? So it's not like I don't believe lives matter, but policy decisions are not made like that. So I'll give you an example. I don't know how else to say this, but some things just have to be proven through data, right? Let's say, let's pick up this particular issue from, let's say, COVID. So there seems to be a lot of debate around the world now, and I'll come to the point why policy matters and why, how and why people should think. Look, people should be thinking purely from a numbers perspective. So I'll just share the screen to make my point. If you could bring it up, so, people need to understand what is happening here.
Should I
Like,
put it on?
for example, so let's take the school issue for example. So I talked about why schools should open up. I think schools should open up, and this is the reason. So this is basically a chart which based this is COVID data for the last 52 weeks ending on April 10th 2021. By the way, this is a New York Times chart. So ये भी नहीं बोल सकते हो मैंने किसी एंटी वैक्सर एंटी दिस एंटी दैट साइट से लिया है. So as per this chart, what does it say? Kids from the age of 1 to 14 are more likely to die from drowning, car accidents, cancer, and the flu than they are from COVID. Now, this is the data. Now, here's the problem. Now, I'll take the screen off. So, I just shared this for an example. Now, this
But
is
their
the
argument
reality.
the argument can be that is for last 12 months, which means anyway children were not going to school, they were not intermingling, and they were at home. That's why they did not die of COVID. That can be
Yeah,
the
but you
argument.
can't have it both ways, right? On one side, they say we can't send them to school, but then you have like seroprevalence surveys done in city of Mumbai, where they did a proper detailed survey of 24 wards in Mumbai, and they found out that 51% of the kids in Mumbai anyways have COVID antibodies. So even if we assume that 10 to 15% of that number is wrong, so we reduce it by 5% or 6%, but still it comes down to 40 to 45% of children, even after sending them back at home, do not allowing them to come and go to schools, they still got COVID. And then like, you can look at the death statistics by where at least in Mumbai more than 95% or 96% of the deaths are in that category, which is basically 45 and above. And in that also, most of the people who have unfortunately passed away have around 1.8 comorbidities, so like at least two comorbidities. So the
Hmm.
point again is that this argument, right, is irrational. It's based on zero COVID. Look, why is this obsession with zero COVID is my question. Are we then saying that only zero COVID matters, but zero drowning doesn't matter, zero car accidents don't matter, or zero cancer doesn't matter, or zero flu doesn't matter? I don't understand. And then somebody will, but this is transmissible. Arey Baba, what is this argument? You have to look at the end of the day. We need to look at the mortality data. And the biggest important point over here, Vivek, is not just this chart. Policy making is not about appealing to emotions. See, the biggest tragedy in India is people only look at first order effects when they decide a policy. See,
Yeah.
policy is making about second order effects or third order effects. Now, I just shared a beautiful piece from the Indian Express today, written by Sujata Rao,
Yeah.
where she raised a lot of points about what is happening uh, you know in the because of the shutdown of schools. So she just said in January the Azim Premji Foundation undertook a study of 16,067 primary class children in 1,137 schools spread over 44 districts in 5 states. The purpose of the study was to assess the forgetting regression kind of learning loss among children with regards to language and math. Since these are what are referred to as foundational abilities, loss could imply serious consequences for the future. The results of this study showed that 92% and 82% children lost one or more of the abilities that constitute language and math learning, respectively. Put simply, they had forgotten how to speak or write, add, or multiply. Now you have this obsession of COVID panic. You made this decision, you shut schools down. Again, इसमें कितनी बड़ी upper middle class privilege आती है, Vivek? Just think about it. How many schools in India can
Yeah.
afford e-learning? Not even 10%. ठीक
Or the
है
skill. They don't have skill for e-learning,
क्या?
So,
और बच्चे को आप कितना स्क्रीन पे पढ़ाना चाहते हो वो भी सोचना चाहिए. So you do
hmm.
this, you are basically, I don't know how else to put it, Vivek, but you are creating an army of dummies. You are nothing, you're doing nothing.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, see, you said they forget their skill, maths, English. I'm saying they also de-learn common sense.
Yeah.
When you're not interacting outside socially, you don't know, and you are just playing in your small complexes, and you have no interaction with the world, and there is fear psychosis. Then you are losing common sense, and we are creating a society of stupid people. I'm sorry, it's a harsh word, but that's how it is. Because all your policies are also decided by what media is going to say tonight. So what's going to happen on prime time, what's going to trend, what's going to happen on Twitter. This is such a fleeting information which creates so much of hype around it, that policy. Don't you think in Maharashtra this is the reason that the chief minister is not opening up the market, though it's the
Oh,
most important.
absolutely.
See, if Bombay
Absolutely.
will have to lead, Bombay opens up, India opens up.
Yeah, and it has been, uh, I don't know how else to say this, but I am shocked at the decision making of the Maharashtra government when it comes to lockdowns and its policies. I mean, whether it was the night curfews, as in 9 बजे के बाद कोरोना नहीं हो गया, शहंशाह है वो, सिर्फ अंधेरी रातों में निकलता है, शहंशाह है, अमिताभ बच्चन है, वही कोरोना है, वो सिर्फ रात को निकलता है और चुभता है, और यहाँ तो आजकल ये 4 बजे में हो गया, मतलब वो दोपहर का शहंशाह हो गया, वो 4 बज के 1 मिनट होते हैं तो कोरोना जागृत हो जाता है। फिर बसों में बसों में लोगों को जाने दो, वैक्सीन है कि नहीं है, वहां पे कोरोना नहीं होता, मगर ट्रेन में नहीं जाने देंगे, वहां पे सडनली कोरोना हो जाता है। कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है। सी, policies are not based on science, right? Policies are based on knee jerk reaction, where the politician wants to show, and look, this is not a particular way uh, about one government. We are using Maharashtra government, at least I am, because I live in this state. Yeah, I am suffering because of the state's policies. If I was in another state and it was maybe governed by BJP and they were doing the same policies, my stand would remain the same. Like right now, UP has a weekend lockdown. I'm laughing my ass off here because weekend में corona होता है क्या? I don't understand. Monday to Friday नहीं, मगर weekend में corona होता है. The point is, we have come to a point where Vivek, politicians are not doing this thing because they want to control COVID. They are doing this thing because they have to signal to the people, especially the people who are, see, politicians are no longer poor. Let's just get very clear. So they also hang around now upper middle class and above people most of the time. Let's
Yeah,
just be brutally honest. So,
yeah,
this is a very secured Indian upper middle class and above fear. मेरा बच्चा तो इंटरनेट पे बैठ सकता है ना, मैं तो वर्क फ्रॉम होम कर सकता हूं ना, तो अरे बाबा, 88% ऑफ इंडियन किड्स गो टू स्कूल्स दैट डोंट हैव दीस फैसिलिटीज, एटलीस्ट 80%। और ये छोड़ो, जस्ट थिंक अबाउट इट विवेक, one of the major successes of India was the midday meal program. Because schools are shut, the midday meal program is not getting executed in a proper way. Just
mm,
think about the nutritional impact on millions of kids in India because the midday meal program right now is not getting executed. अब मेरे को एक बात बताओ, आप तो बॉम्बे में रहते हो, जो ये लोग प्रो लॉकडाउन है, या दिल्ली में रहते हो, या चेन्नई में रहते हो, या कोई भी टीयर 1 टीयर 2 सिटी में रहते हो, it
absolutely.
is an absolute shocker that, I mean, what are you doing? You are destroying lives of children. You are not giving them nutrition. You are not giving them education. You are basically creating an army of, you know, ill-equipped kids who are going to go into the job market, and they will have zero skills. And then the kind of impact it will have on the overall quality product generation of the country, we're destroying ourselves. यार क्या कर रहे हैं समझ में नहीं आता.
Yeah, that's true. And see, the whole thing is, why are they scared? What are they scared of? They in Bombay, they on one hand they say that they've created all the facilities for COVID, these huge, humongous hospitals, everywhere, and they have the infrastructure. And the government say nobody died because of oxygen. All state governments, in fact, Maharashtra and Delhi both filed an affidavit saying that nobody died because of oxygen. I understand there's a technical thing why it happens. So, but then they see. I'll tell you. I have a theory. Okay, let me share it with you. What happens is a country basically lives together when there is hope. Whatever hope, हम विश्व गुरु बनेंगे. We'll become superpower. 5 साल में हम 5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी बने. Some hope, and some things keep happening. So the common masses who are not very aware of things how they happen, hope is really, really, and Marx said that opium is what did he say? What
Religion is
religion?
the opium of the masses.
Yeah, and I'll say hope is the opium of citizens in a democracy. So hope is a bigger addiction. So hope on one hand, and general sense of prosperity or happiness, culturally happy, socially happy, economically happy, and that's how you become together. That's how you come together, and that leads you. And that happens when you have great leadership. Unfortunately what is happening is that there is no plan, nobody is speaking, people are scared to speak कि भाई अभी मैं बोल दूं और कल को थर्ड वेव आ जाए और मैं बोलूं और थर्ड वेव नहीं आए तो इट्स बेटर टू बी सेफ देन डू एनीथिंग एल्स. भाई घर में भी फैमिली में क्या होता है एज अ फादर, not in a patriarchal way, but whoever is the leader of the house, your father, your grandfather, or your wife, whoever is the leader or two leaders, husband and wife, क्या करते हैं वो लोग, वो एक होप होती है ना घर में, there is a hope about everything and there is happiness, prosperity. और जब प्रॉब्लम आता है, if there is some kind of a problem, then leaders of the family sit down, they make children aware of it, and then everybody fights it together because there's a hope that will come out of it if we do 1 2 3 4. Right now the problem is, the only thing we know is कि पट्टी बांधो मुंह पे और सॉरी मास्क बांधो मुंह के ऊपर, हाथ सैनिटाइज करो और 2 गज दूरी करो, और इनमें से तीनों में से कोई कुछ नहीं करता है. इसलिए नहीं करते हैं लोग बिकॉज दे नो कि इससे कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. Unless and until the leadership shows a path, whatever it can go wrong in the future, but some plan, some policy that this is what we are doing. Okay, why tell me, I am fully vaccinated, why should I suffer? Why should I not be able to lead my normal life? Why I was going into co-vaccine, that app, for so many days, struggling, asking doctors to get, why did I have to do that if there is no change in my life? This is
Like I said,
something.
yeah, so
Leadership is a.
see, it's a very important point about leadership. See, leadership in India, we don't have a crisis of leadership. We have a crisis of common sense. See, the point is that when your essence, वो जो फ्रेंच में वर्ड है ना, raison d'être, यहाँ पंजाबी में
Yeah.
उसको जुगनी कहते हैं. So when your essence in the discourse, एक discourse की essence जब हो जाती है safetyism और irrational safetyism, तो ये सब चीजें होती हैं. Look, अभी social distancing in a city like Mumbai or in a country like India is a privilege. When
Yeah.
will people accept that? So let's talk about Mumbai again. Mumbai as a city, 68 to 70% of the people in Mumbai live in slums. I mean, this is government data. I am not making this shit up, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Delhi mein it's a
Or
50-50 ratio.
or slums and
Yeah.
slum-like.
Slum-like. And Delhi mein it is 50-50. ठीक है. अभी इसमें लोग कहते हैं कि आप सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग प्रैक्टिस करो. अरे मेरे भाई, तुम धारावी या मानकुड़ शिवाजी नगर, जैसे बॉम्बे में मैं 2 नाम दे रहा हूँ, एक मानकुड़ शिवाजी नगर और एक धारावी, ये करने का स्कोप नहीं है उधर. आप बोलते हो सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग करो. कहां से करें मेरे भाई? हाउ डू आई डू दिस? आई मीन, कोई मेरे को कोई रैशनल आदमी आके, सी माय होल पॉइंट वाज, सेकंड, इंडिया की प्रॉब्लम क्या है मालूम है? अगेन, लोगों को बहुत गुस्सा आएगा. सी, इंडिया इज अ developing country pretending to be a developed country. I'm being very honest over here. हमारी प्रॉब्लम क्या है? We want to have policies of the developed world.
Yeah,
we want to
yeah,
have full lockdown policies, but people don't remember one thing. When Australia locks down, or when Europe locked down, when America locked down, when Canada locked down, ask your friends in Australia, Europe, America, and Canada how much money they get weekly in their bank accounts for doing nothing, just sitting at home,
yeah.
because they are locked down and they might lose their livelihood. Second, how much money in the form of extremely low percentage loans were given to businesses कि तुमको जब देना है वापस दे देना. ठीक है, अभी उससे कंपेयर करो. अभी कोई मेरे को आके बोलेगा मगर सरकार ने लोन्स दिए, वो लोन्स कितनों को मिले हैं, किस लेवल पे मिले हैं, कैसे मिले हैं, उसके ऊपर चर्चा बाद में कर लेंगे. फर्स्ट पार्ट, has the government of India given a single penny? Has the government of Maharashtra or any state government given a single penny to an average person? Abhi somebody will come back, the Maharashtra government gave 1300 rupees to housemates and 1300 rupees to rickshaw walas. So, thank you very much, sir. Itna bada aapne dil dikhaya hai. But I know people who run restaurants, people who run small shops, people who run small businesses, small workshops, have not gotten a single penny. The central government did, you know what, in the first wave, they said, we will expedite the release of your TDS and GST refunds. अबे वो तो मेरा ही पैसा था, मेरा ही पैसा मुझे दे रहे हो और बाद में बोल रहे हो दिया ना. अरे वाह, क्या कमाल है. So the thing is that we have implemented a developed country policy, and then we have not implemented the developed country compensation. So compensation की बारी आती है तो हमारे politicians ठेंगा दिखाते हैं हमको. So my point, और दूसरा, when you implement a lockdown, it is implemented under the assumption that we have the same density of population, the same behavioral patterns, the same infrastructure like the developed world. Can tell me, how do you practice? भाई मुंबई एक ऐसा शहर है जिसकी लाइफलाइन लोकल ट्रेन है. I know crorpatis also who live in, Mira Road, Bhayandar, and they hop on the train and they come daily to Kalba Devi market to sell their fabric, or, Lohar Chal mein jaake apne electronics ki items बेचेंगे या जो करना है करेंगे. They come in the train because the trains are very convenient. बस फर्स्ट क्लास हो या दूसरी क्लास हो, मुंबई ट्रेन्स आर खचाखच भरी हुई. You have
Hmm.
basically screwed them all over.
Yeah.
एंड नाउ यू डोंट इवन कॉम्पनसेट. देखो कॉम्पनसेशन होती थी ना तो मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, मैं भी मुस्टंडे के जैसे घर में बैठा रहता था, मेरा स्टाफ भी बैठा रहता था. पॉइंट ये है कि दे आर नॉट कॉम्पनसेटिंग. और दूसरा पॉइंट क्या है, दे कीप लाइंग. लुक विवेक, वी ऑल नो रिसेंटली, I think it was on the 20th of July 2021, when the ICMR made an announcement that they did a fourth round of national sero survey for COVID-19, and overall zero prevalence of 67.6% in the entire population. अर्थात कि ऑलमोस्ट
हर
70% लोगों को भारत में कोविड की एंटीबॉडीज आई है. नाउ लेट मी अज्यूम कि उसमें 15% चढ़ा के बोला हुआ है, 15%, तो भी आधी पॉपुलेशन को कोविड हो गया. देन नेचुरल क्वेश्चन क्या होना चाहिए था विवेक? वी शुड हैव आस्क्ड आवर पॉलिटिशियंस, ऑल स्टेट एंड सेंट्रल, कि यू जीनियसेस, यू डिड अ लॉकडाउन, क्या उखाड़ा?
Hmm.
सक्सेस का ओके, टेल मी व्हाट इज द गेज ऑफ द सक्सेस ऑफ अ पॉलिसी लाइक लॉकडाउन? कोविड हुआ कि नहीं हुआ? मतलब सबको हो गया, लॉकडाउन भी सक्सेसफुल है, ये तो मतलब है कि मैं सच भी नहीं बोलता और मैं झूठ के नजदीक भी नहीं जाता.
Hmm.
इस दोनों कैसे हो सकता है? सो आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड. एंड एज फार एज योर पॉइंट ऑफ लीडरशिप इज कंसर्न ना, दिस इज नॉट अ क्राइसिस ऑफ लीडरशिप. This is a clear indication of the overall quality of political discourse in India, where Rahul Gandhi in the first wave said, why are we locking down? Lockdowns are bad. And Rahul Gandhi in the second wave said, why are we not locking down? Lockdowns are good. This is
True.
leadership in India, Vivek.
True, 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 true. And yesterday he was addressing a 1,000 people rally, everybody like shoulder to shoulder, sitting on each other's shoulders. So, but I find certain things which is incomprehensible for me. For example, gyms are open, gardens are open, parks are open, and in my area in Warsaw, and Jew area, they are खचा खच. मतलब आप गार्डन में जाओगे ना, मैं गया एक दिन तो मैं गेट से ही वापस आ गया लौट के. मुझे ऐसा लगा कि मैं वो विरार फास्ट लोकल में चढ़ रहा हूँ. लोग शोल्डर 10-10, 20-20 लोग के ग्रुप में, आई मीन एज इफ आई कांट एक्सप्लेन इट टू यू, भरा हुआ था पूरा. ऐसे जिम्स को तुम देखो भरे हुए हैं. They are like crowded and so many people are doing it, but they won't open swimming pools. Now I did a lot of study on swimming pool, because my knee broke. So for physiotherapy, they said do some aqua exercise and all that. So I was looking. We have a swimming pool in our building, but society people are such that they don't want anybody enjoy anything or do anything good in life. तो अच्छा, तो मैं सबसे ये कहता हूँ, अच्छा भाई, जब आप आपसे क्या कहते हैं कि आप बाहर से आओ तो हाथ धो पानी से ना. तो पानी से तो नहीं होता है
साबुन
ना,
वाले
पानी में.
पानी से, साबुन वाले
हाँ,
पानी से,
नहीं
साबुन वाले
पानी से
पानी से.
पूरा ना. If you do rubbing action with water, it won't happen. So swimming pool, that's why they're open everywhere, and they say it's not waterborne, it's airborne. Problem ये होता है when swimming pool में 10-20 लोग इकट्ठे हो जाए. तो SOPs फिल्म, जैसे फिल्म शूटिंग के लिए उन्होंने बनाया that there can't be more than 30-40 people. Unrealistic. They are still shooting with 150-200 people. Then they said you can shoot only till 4 o'clock. How can you shoot till 4 o'clock when you are paying somebody from 9 to 10? And how can you, वो तो उतने ही पैसे लेगा घर से निकलने के. Third problem, there are no locals, and out of 5 lakh people who work officially in this industry, 4 lakh 99,000, it's just privileged couple of 3-4 thousand people. Otherwise everybody travels by local. Now my assistants have stopped coming. They said no, we cannot come because I live in Mira Road and it costs me $1,000 coming and going. The girls, at night they get only Ola and all that kind of thing to go to Mira Road. Autos don't take them. So whatever, but even if 500 rupees a day, उनकी सैलरी इतनी होती नहीं है. और अगर सबकी सैलरी बढ़ाए तो कैसे बढ़ाए? There is no business in entertainment. So there are a lot of contradictions, but there is nobody who's willing to talk. There is nobody who's willing to listen. That's another problem.
So both are equally vital. So let's take this first one where you said there is nobody willing to talk. That's actually the truth. Nobody is willing to talk, and people, I'm mocked by people on social media that, oh, he's an impractical guy. He keeps talking about freedom as it is the biggest thing in life. Yes, it is the biggest thing in life. Nothing matters more than freedom, because if you don't fight for your freedom today, you see, people don't understand that government is like, you know uh, uh, a blood sucking vampire. So you let them take your blood over here, they will go here, then they will go here, and then they'll go here. Once you give your freedoms away to the government as a
Yeah.
principle, you're not getting them back easily. People don't realize this. We fought. People are so dumb that they think we always had freedoms. No, no, no. Freedom conceptually, freedom as we have them today, this is a very new experiment, barely a few hundred years old across the world. Yes, we had spiritual freedom, a lot of spiritual freedom in ancient India. But no, no, Raja ki bahut chalti thi tabhi bhi. This is a unique experiment that humanity has done. Now we elect our Raja every 5 years. And if we don't like the Raja, we throw that Raja out. This is very new. अभी कोई बोलेगा नहीं, मगर अथर्व वेद में वहां पे ये लिखा था। भाई, एक एबरेशन से नॉर्म नहीं होता है। हाँ, अभी वो मतलब इसके पहले कि कोई वो करे, मैंने एंटिसिपेट करके उसका भी जवाब दे दिया। मतलब वो नहीं, वो हमेशा होता नहीं। हमारे ग्रंथ में वो लिखा गया था, अरे भाई साइड में खड़ा हो जाए, नहीं किधर एक आधे में हुआ होएगा। और फिर कोई बोल देगा नहीं, ग्रीक टाइम पे होता था। मगर ग्रीक टाइम पे भी जो डेमोक्रेसी थी, उसमें सिर्फ वोट का राइट एरिस्टोक्रेट्स को था, बाकी किसी को नहीं था। तो वो कोई घंटा डेमोक्रेसी थी, वो कोई डेमोक्रेसी नहीं थी। इट वॉज द नेसेंट स्टेज। द पॉइंट इज कि मर मर के हमने लड़ के नया सिस्टम इजाद किया जिसमें एवरीबडी हैज फ्रीडम्स। द वे द एवरेज पर्सन devalues his, her, or whatever preferred pronoun you want to use, freedom, is actually mind boggling to me. Like, I sit down and sometimes I just wonder, I was like, कितने जाहिल हो तुम लोग कि तुमको बिल्कुल एहसास नहीं है कि तुम्हारी freedoms literally जा रही हैं. Look, I don't care if a private company decides, okay, look, you're a private restaurant. Let's say you go to a cafe and that cafe comes up with a decision. Look, this is my policy. I will not allow people inside who are not vaccinated. That's my business. I don't care. That's a private entity. I will not let the government tell me do this, do that, because today the government will use this as a stick on this, then they will use it in everything.
One second, let me ask. Do we have constitutionally the right to livelihood in Indian democracy?
Well, we we have a right to life, liberty and property भी नहीं बोल सकता. हमारा प्रॉपर्टी का राइट तो ले लिया मोरारजी देसाई गवर्नमेंट ने, तो वो भी नहीं है. लाइफ एंड लिबर्टी
I
का
think
राइट
we
है,
have right
बट
to livelihood. नहीं, right to livelihood
we
है,
have
मेरे
a
ख्याल से
right
it's
to
worded
earn a
differently.
livelihood. No, we have a right to earn a livelihood subject to certain restrictions like the Pandemic Act, like this, like that, like
Yeah,
etc., like etc. So it's like that. It is there, but conditions apply. And look again, now, like we said, there are the first was like what we do. See, as far as politicians are concerned, Vivek, what is a politician? Politician is a television set. वो television set है, जो channel आप लगाओगे वो channel बन जाएंगे. दूसरे
yeah, yeah.
politicians are power hungry. You give them powers and then you expect them to give it back to you. You are the dummy that you gave your powers away willingly to a bunch of politicians, thinking that they will give it back to you, assuming that the pandemic was going to end. The history of pandemics clearly state that they come and go in waves. They eventually get to everyone, no matter what you do. And yes, people are going to die. Am I saying people should die? No. What I am saying is I should have the choice whether I want to earn a livelihood or not. Now, you made such an important point that आपकी इंडस्ट्री में उन्होंने बोल दिया 4 बजे शूटिंग बंद कर दो. अच्छा, नाइट का सीन है, क्या करोगे? ये किस किस्म का है?
Nobody thinks. See, अच्छा, ये एक और थ्योरी है. I want your perspective on that. एक थ्योरी ये है कि let lockdowns, like in war time, जब वो सायरन बजा, थोड़ी देर कर्फ्यू लग गया, फिर हट गया. So whenever there is a threat, real threat, and I'm sure in 1 year all governments must have created some kind of medical intelligence where they can predict 10-15 days in advance कि हाँ भाई numbers are on rise, तो चलो अभी एक हफ्ते का लॉकडाउन लगा देते हैं. If you do things that way, whenever it's really a threat, do that. But in normal times, just ease it out. I think lots of countries are propagating that, and they are saying that this is a more scientific and realistic way of running a country than a blanket कि हाँ भाई हम अब तो देख पता नहीं अच्छा लोगों को भी नहीं पता अच्छा कल खुलेगा परसों खुलेगा अभी एवरीबडी वाज एक्सपेक्टिंग कि 1 तारीख को खुलेगा 1 अगस्त को और सब कह रहे हैं 15 अगस्त को खुलेगा क्यों खुलेगा 15 अगस्त को क्योंकि अक्षय कुमार की किसी फिल्म ने अनाउंस किया है कि हम लोग 17 को रिलीज कर रहे हैं फिल्म अब सी पीपल आर रियल शर्लॉक होम्स क्या जासूस हैं अपने एकदम जग्गा जासूस देन somebody फाउंड आउट कि उसका जो प्रोड्यूसर है वाशु बगनानी उसका दामाद जो है वो कल्चर मिनिस्टर है महाराष्ट्र का तो मे बी उसने बताया है कि तू आराम से अनाउंस कर 15 को तो हटा ही रहे हम लोग इफ दैट इज द केस देन आई फील ब्लडी चीटेड एंड आई लूज ऑल द होप इन डेमोक्रेसी अगर ऐसा है कि लोग ऐसे नेक्सस करते हैं पर फिर भी पीपल हैव नो आइडिया सो मैं ये कह रहा हूँ ऐसे स्पॉरेटिक छोटे छोटे लॉकडाउन जब प्रॉब्लम है वो करके जिंदा रहना बेटर है या ये एक ब्लैंकेट की तुम सब मरो हम हमारा पावर नहीं जाना चाहिए लोग हमें गाली ना दे रात को अर्नब मुझे गाली ना दे भाई मैं नहीं चाहता वो
Yeah, see, this is the point. Arnab lockdowns मांग सकता है. Arnab has the privilege of sitting in his house, investing in amazing technology, and running a show from his house, which he was doing for a long time. I know Arnab got COVID. I know Arnab was seriously ill. I think he got COVID from what I've heard. And he was ill because वो बीच में times now many आ रहा था. And I wish Arnab the best of health. But there is life beyond Arnab too. Now, Arnab can demand lockdowns, so I want Arnab to give 90% of his wealth to all the people who lose their livelihood through lockdowns. That's a fair deal. I don't mind. See, everybody who wants lockdowns now, 90% of their income should be given to people who are affected because of the lockdowns. I think that's a fair deal to have. तुमको लॉकडाउन चाहिए घर में बैठो तुम्हारा 90% पैसा मुझे दे दो क्योंकि मुझे नहीं चाहिए तो ठीक है ना तुम भी खुश मैं भी अपना जीवन जी रहा हूं तुम भी अपना जीवन जी रहे हो सबकी बल्ले बल्ले द पॉइंट इज लॉकडाउन्स डोंट वर्क बिकॉज इट इज साइंटिफिकली प्रूवन अगर कोई बोलता है लॉकडाउन करते हैं इसके लिए डेथ नहीं होती तो मेरा काउंटर ये है ना उसमें विवेक कि आप फिर प्रूव करो तो लेट मी शेयर वन मोर स्लाइड बिकॉज इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू प्रूव पीपल रॉन्ग कि दिस इज अ स्लाइड दिस इज अ कंपैरिजन ऑफ डेली कंफर्म्ड डेथ्स पर मिलियन एंड दिस इज फ्रॉम द 1st March 2020 मतलब पैंडेमिक के स्टार्ट से एंड दिस इज अ कंपैरिजन बिटवीन United Kingdom and Sweden. Now look at the chart. It's a ridiculous proof that lockdowns have not worked. अभी स्वीडन ने लॉकडाउन नहीं किया यूके ने लॉकडाउन पे लॉकडाउन किया ऐसे लॉकडाउन किया कि मतलब समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा था कब बंद होगा द पॉइंट इज दे डोंट वर्क नाउ यू कैन कीप टेलिंग योरसेल्फ दैट दे वर्क बट आई रिमेंबर somebody had once told me this line that you can ignore the reality is not going to ignore you, it's not going to change. Look, if you are scared of COVID, and I completely sympathize with people who are genuinely scared of COVID, you could have comorbidities. So first things first, you have the option of a vaccine now. So you should go and get yourself vaccinated as soon as possible. Second, even after that, if you're scared, you can wear a mask, you can wear a face shield. If nothing, you can become Darth Vader. अपने आप को सर से लेकर पैर तक कवर कर लो, जो करना है करो. And you can lock yourself in the bathroom forever. But the point is, there are people who do not have that option, and maybe risk assessment now is a very individual thing. Now, there are some people who have fear of flying in the planes. Now, are you going to say because there are few people who are fearful of flying in the plane? We should not allow flights until we get over their fear. Is my question. And it's a very simple. You'll be like, are you ridiculous? They don't want to fly. Let them sit at home. That's my answer now. Now we have a vaccine. Now I don't care if people are scared. If you're scared, you sit at home. But everybody else should be given the freedom to make their life the way they want to do it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I care about.
That's true. And let me just tell you about film industry. Okay, everybody thinks that it's a rich man's game, and that's why it doesn't matter. They are looking just at these 10 or 12 film stars who keep posting on Instagram very happy life, and even now as if nothing has happened and the corona can never touch them, And that was one of the reasons, when COVID, I have an analysis when COVID started last year in March, April, तो 1-2 महीने तो थाली वाली बजाने में निकल गए, मैंने मौज मस्ती में निकल गए कि अच्छा चलो घर में बैठते हैं, Netflix देखते हैं, ये करते हैं, and all that. Then the life started getting tougher because summers came in. एंड नॉर्थ में आप देखिए और साउथ में कितनी जबरदस्त समर होती है, एक्चुअली ऑल ओवर इंडिया मई जून जुलाई इज लाइक हेल. और उसमें सडनली इन अ स्मॉल हाउस 7 8 people who used to leave early in the morning, come late at night, or they were living their own lives, but suddenly they are packed together and their power cuts, मच्छर काट रहे हैं, पैसे नहीं है, there is no hope, people don't know what's happening, frustration is setting in, mental fatigue. फिर वो माँ भी जो है, बच्चे स्कूल जाते थे अब जा नहीं रहे, सर के ऊपर कूद रहे हैं, you know,
Mm.
life is in a mess. No maid servant, they are mopping, cleaning. Life was in a mess, not for privileged people, but like you say, middle class, lower middle class people, it was really hell. Usme, on top of that, whenever they opened their social media, they were seeing these big stars, dancing, their Maldives photos. Karan Johar showing his hundreds boots and shoes and his wardrobe and his children. So everybody was doing that. So people were frustrated. They didn't know where to take it out. They didn't know what to do. And so जो दिखता है वो दुश्मन हो जाता है. तो उसमें फिर वो अर्नब वगैरह मीडिया वालों ने भी आग लगाई. कोइंसिडेंटली सुशांत डाइड ऑफ सुसाइड, एंड कई लोग मुझे बहुत मारेंगे, मैंने सुसाइड वर्ड यूज कर लिया है. तो बट आई विल गो बाय व्हाटएवर इज द ऑफिशियल स्टेटस, बट आई एम नॉट इनटू प्रेडिक्टिंग गेम्स. व्हाट इज द ऑफिशियल थिंग इज दैट ही डाइड बाय सुसाइड एज ऑफ नाउ. तो जो भी हुआ, पर उसको ऐसा कंट्रोवर्सी बना दिया क्योंकि पीपल रियलाइज कि सोशल मीडिया में ये लोग गाली बहुत देने लगे थे. आफ्टर सुशांत दे स्टार्टेड अब्यूजिंग 10 15 पीपल. सो मीडिया के पास था नहीं तो उन्होंने उसको उठा लिया. नाउ सडनली बॉलीवुड बिकम सच अ टची वर्ड. बट लेट मी टेल यू द डेंजर्स ऑफ when you shut down not Bollywood, I'm saying the entire film, entertainment, theater, art, literature, performances, event industry, everything is shut. It's a huge industry, and this is the soft power of India. And these people bring in a huge ratio of profits. When they work, they get a lot of money. They pay entertainment tax to all the states. They pay income tax, so they have one additional tax also. Now the problem is that you thought that it's some kind of a privilege and it should shut down. Cinema hall does not mean only PVR. They are single screens. Single screens, you have parking वाले 3 4, पान की कई दुकानें, समोसे की दुकानें, कोक की दुकानें, बच्चों के खिलौने की दुकानें. फिर वो जो क्या बोलते हैं वो बुढ़िया के बाल, that thing in north you get,
Yeah.
uh,
Candy, cotton candy.
candy floss, something like that. All that, balloon shops. There's so many things, and the shops around that of things. All that is the ecosystem of a single screen theater. Then the people who are working there, it's big business. It's huge business in India. Now you have killed it, not shut it down, because in single screen the people who run it are generally 60 50, 70 years old, because they have been running. It's like a skill, a craft to run single screens. बुकिंग कैसे
Yeah.
करना, तुमने देखा होगा यहाँ चंदन वंदन में कैसे टिकट का वो.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they
yeah,
know,
yeah. Chandan कितना पुराना है?
yeah, now suddenly those people are retiring and they are not going to come back to work, and सड़ रहे हैं, थिएटर बंद पड़े हुए हैं, ना एसी चल रहा है. तो चूहे घूम रहे हैं. मेरे दोस्त बता रहे थे नागपुर में कि उनके यहाँ चूहे ने सब कारपेट काट दिए हैं. So there are multiple problems. They are not thinking about that. Second problem is, because you will, on one hand, our central government talks about making us Vishwa Guru, you will become Vishwa Guru only by soft power, right? You have shut the entire industry, and this industry does not mean only films. It means Kathak dance, Bharatanatyam dance. It means a lot of music performance all over the world. My problem is that all the entertainment now, you have killed, you have destroyed all the local producers, domestic producers. All Indian copyright of all the entertainment henceforth is being controlled perpetually by Netflix, Amazon, Disney Hotstar, and these are all three American companies. India, if they really do not do something about entertainment business, India in next 1 year or so will have no copyright either on their films, their entertainment, whichever is being produced now. It's a very scary situation.
So, this is actually very scary the way you narrate it. So, from what I understand is that we could be in a scenario in the next 2 3 years, if this business of COVID fetish does not end, that basically it could be a scenario where platforms like Netflix and Amazon, which are not Indian platforms, they're American platforms, they basically become the arbiters of what goes on, what doesn't go on, what gets
Yeah.
made, what does not get made. And in
Oh, they
that
already
kind of a
are.
scenario,
They already are.
so in that case, you have thought monopoly, And the thought monopoly leads to ideological monopoly. Ideological monopoly basically becomes a way to subtly influence millions and millions of people in the society, where you might be being fed propaganda. So see, I'm very open about it. Like today, if I want to make a movie from a nationalistic point of view, I really don't see the probabilities of that going on a platform like Netflix, because
No
they
way.
may not
No.
like to make that movie. So then Vivek, I have a question, because I know we are going to wrap it up very soon, but so my question to you is, I'm very keen about this movie bit, is then in a scenario like this, how can we be so mind numbingly stupid that we know we are killing? See, like films like Border, films like Bahubali, these films have portrayed this country's culture, this country's essence in a unabashed way. These are movies that are, you know legends of in their own way. Now if we are destroying our movie industry, we are basically destroying the narrative of India's culture. नेटफ्लिक्स पे तो क्या आता है कि इंडिया घटिया है, इंडिया ऐसा है, इंडिया से कुछ अच्छा नहीं होना, सबसे सारा घटिया रिलीजन हिंदुइज्म है, उससे अच्छा कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता, हम तो हैं ही ऐसे. In spite of all of this, why is the government silent, and why is it not raising its voice, and why are cinemas not allowed to function?
Once the government is free from cheering and congratulating Olympic winners, after that they might sit down and say, "Yes, we have other jobs also to do." So if somebody sees Indian TV right now outside India who doesn't know much about India, he's going to feel that Indian politicians train, coach all these winners. Anyway, so see, the problem is, let me tell you very, very bluntly, government doesn't have that kind of vision. They don't
Hmm.
understand all these things. They just think about कि हमारे बारे में प्राइम टाइम में क्या बोला जा रहा है, राइट? एंड दे यूज
Hmm.
बॉलीवुड पीपल लाइक भांड, कि जब कोई इंटरनेशनल डिग्निटरी आ रही है या कोई इंटरनेशनल फंक्शन हो रहा है या एशियाड हो रहा है या वर्ल्ड दिस हो रहा है, तो उसमें उनको बुला लेंगे 6-7 लोगों को, ये अक्षय कुमार है, ये करण जौहर है, ये है, उन लोगों को खड़ा कर देंगे, हीरोइंस आ जाएंगी, देन सेल्फी टाइम एंड दैट्स इट. Where have we used Bollywood as a or film industry as a soft power? We have not. The minute people understand, ये सब देखो धंधे वाले लोग हैं, इनको समझ में आ जाए, taking our films, giving us to international platform, तो ये कुछ करते नहीं. Now the problem is that they do not care. Okay, so I'm sorry there was some kind of a thunder and the power went off. Um, I think Kushal has also left. Okay, so everybody, thanks a lot for joining us. Aap, you just send me please on Twitter or wherever you are on YouTube. Please write your comments on what are your views about lockdown. What do you think the government should do? And also let us know whether you are affected by lockdown or not. And tomorrow at 7 o'clock, I'm doing a session with Rahul Roshan. His new book has just come out, A Sangi Who Never Went to Shakha. So please join me. I can guarantee it's going to be a fascinating, it's going to be sensational. यानी कुछ भी हो सकता है, आग लगा देंगे आग. So see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock on Brutally Honest with VRA. Thank you. Bye bye.